What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to the Behind the Golf podcast. I have my friend Bo Longo. This dude's smart as hell, man. I just want to tell you guys. I'll tell you how I found him, but like what he's doing is crazy, and like how fast he's grown his brand. But his brand is called a Divot Board. I know a lot of you probably have seen it now online or on certain email lists with certain influencers because it's cool and we want to share it. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul, thanks.
Dude, this dude's buff. If you guys are not on the live stream yet, this guy is freaking in shape. Like, I feel like a fat dude. Like, he said, how old are you? You're 60 what?
60. Just turned
There's no
60.
freaking way. He's lying.
There is.
He looks like he looks like he's 49, but in good shape. Are you Italian?
It's the Peter Pan effect. No, it's the Peter Pan effect. Like when I was younger, it is. Yeah, it's Italian. When I was younger, I was always like I was a developer when I was younger. I built houses and stuff, and I was always like this little kid coming in and saying, "Hey, I could build you a $5 million house, no problem." And so, it was a bummer then, but now I'm good because I'm older and it's awesome to be younger. So it's good.
Well, yeah, I think it really, by being healthier and like being in shape, like your lifespan is a lot longer, right? Like most dudes are 60 are like super fat eyes or anything like that. Right? Like you're in the gym, what, 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
Yeah, 5 days a week I'm in the gym. But if you saw what I ate, you'd be like, no way, because I eat like sugar and all this other crap, but I obviously eat it in moderation. So I'm not like a food freak. I mean, I eat horrible.
Yeah.
But I don't eat too much of it.
So tell us your story, like, because you're not like a professional golfer or like had this idea a million years ago. Like
yeah.
you're atypical, right? Like I mean, you're a smart man, but like tell me like what's your story? Like when did you start out? Like you grew up doing what?
I have 6 kids. I was a millionaire before I was 26, developing property and building houses. Northern California, up in Colfax, Sacramento area. And so I did really well, and then the market crashed and I lost everything. So I went into other things.
What year was that? Like the 80s? Was that like when the 80s?
Back in the 80s. Yeah, back in the 80s. And so basically, I've been chasing this is an interesting story. So when I was like 10 years old, my mom and dad invested in this idea, and we were going to be millionaires, right? So they put like all their savings, $100,000 into this idea. And it was a scam. The guy took their $100,000, but I was like going to be a millionaire. Like I was going to get all the toys.
In your mind, you're like, oh, this is it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was going to get all the toys I wanted. So for some reason, I'm still chasing that idea, right, of trying to find that product. We all are, and luckily, I get to be one of those guys that experience it. But not to be pompous, but
no, that's funny, dude.
So, but I've been looking for my whole life trying to find a product. So I invented this thing called the Strike Zone Trainer when my kids were in Little League. That like it was a frame of the strike zone that sat over home plate. So when a kid threw a ball, you could see what the strike zone was like. If he hit it inside, if he hit the frame or was inside, it was a strike, and if it was outside, it was a ball. So we made like 2,000 of those and sold those, and I did a couple other different products. So I've been looking like my whole life for a product that would, be able to be successful. And so I have 6 kids. They're out of the house now. My wife won't let me golf when we had all the kids because I'd go, golf for 3-4 hours and then go to the bar for another hour or two. And she's like, no way, that's over. You're not doing it. So I got to start golfing, and the guys I was golfing with were really good, right? I mean, they were like, 5 and 6 handicaps, and I was like a 45, and so it was like I was picking up balls and like I'd have like 20.
You're the typical golfer.
And so they were like, so there were some guys. There was a guy that really liked me, and there was the other guy in the foursome. They call me when one of the foursome wasn't there, and so I get to go golf with him. And he was like, "Tell me you don't belong here. You don't belong here." So I would work so hard. I would go to the gym.
You off now? He's like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah. There's an ego thing with golf, and I understand it. You pay your price, you do all the work, and some guy shows up that hasn't paid the price, and he wants to hang out with you. So I get it. And So I worked really hard. I was working 5 days a week. I was, going to the driving range 5 days a week. I was killing myself, but I wanted extra work time at home. So I went to look for this product that would let me see my divot, like in my carpet, right at home. So I envisioned the product. I knew what it was that I wanted, and I went to the store to buy it. It didn't exist. And so I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. How come this product doesn't exist? And so,
when was this? How long ago was this?
This is about 4 years ago. And so I started to do the patent research and started looking for it, and didn't exist. And I was like, wow, there's an opportunity to do something here. So I was building this thing that was really like, would never wear out and just would like be totally amazing. But it was going to cost me like $200 to build it, and I'd have to sell it for $800. So it's like, it wasn't going to happen. So my wife says to me one day, she goes, you ever seen those pillows that you slide your hand across, these sequin things? I said, no. So she shows it to me.
You're like, no, man, I'm Italian. I'm a freaking buff Italian guy. Why the hell
Right,
would I look at those? Why would I know what that is?
Well, I look at it and I'm like, this will never work. How could this hold up being hit? This would never work. And so she like kept pushing the idea, and I said, well, then we'd have to sell replacement pads. And she goes, good. And so she is the inventor of the Divot Board, of the modern Divot Board. Yeah. So she lets me know all the time. She's the inventor. But so basically, the process went on to build a prototype. So that was kind of the next thing we had to do. And so
how'd you do that?
So I actually have the original prototype. I know this is, if people are watching on video, they can see it. So this was the original prototype. So I just took a piece of plexiglass and put like a couple feet in it, and then just stuck the sequence on top of it. And so this was the beginning of the Divot Board. And so
freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah, we just.
I bet when you saw that happen, you're like, holy crap.
Well, no, because I didn't have a patent yet. So I already knew that even though this was a cool idea, it wasn't going anywhere until I got a patent. And so that was.
Had you patented the other products that you had invented like prior?
Yeah, I have one other patent that's all the way through, and I had like 4 different patent pendings that I tried to get that I didn't get. So I've done it a couple times. So anyways, that went into this product. And then, we started the next step, and all this is really expensive, right? If you wanted to like go and have some, so I like built in my garage an open core. And so this was the first modern Divot Board. And so it's flexible, but I open poured it, 2 pieces, and then, set that up. And so that was kind of the second prototype, or the second step. And so at this point, until we got the patent, I got a cool story. So I had these were a little bit nicer.
This is the first actually shown us like the prototype history of this. Then we did this. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but this is so cool. So I make about 25 of these. I have got about 30 of these, right? And so I decided I'm going to fly out to the PGA's merchandise show in Florida, right?
What year was that?
That was 2 years. So last year they didn't do it. The year before they did it, so it was the year before that. So
yeah, I was there.
Like 3.
That was the first time I ever went to.
Yeah.
2.5 years ago.
So I jump on a red eye from California to. It was horrible flight, red eye. And then
you wake up tired in Florida first thing in the morning. You're like, that's God. The epitome of hell. Waking up and
there was one guy behind me we're all packed in like sardines, and there was one guy behind me. He was like, when I was sleeping, I was like doing some movement or something, and he's hitting on the back of my chair going, stop moving. I'm like, dude, back off. And so it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So anyways, I take like 20 of these, and so I'm in my hotel room. So I strap like 10 on my back, right? I strap 10, and I'm walking through the PGA Superstore, and I'm showing people this, right, and getting their feedback. And I'm collecting cards. I'm making all these great contacts, and so I hand out 30 of them, and I've got this. So on the last day,
and you feel like a badass. You're like, oh yeah, this is my big break. Everyone's gonna buy it, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just getting feedback. Right? I still don't have a patent yet, so we're not going anywhere with it yet. It's still. My patent attorney's telling me we're going to get the patent, but we don't have it yet. So I'm walking through the whole place, and I'm collecting cards. I'm meeting some cool people. I meet some really awesome contacts. So I got this stack of probably like 25, maybe 30 contacts that I've made that I'm going to go home and just really build this business, right? So I had the bag, right? The bag that they give you, and I got all my stuff in it and all the stuff I've been collecting. So on the last day, I'm going out and I'm looking for a new set of clubs. So I set my bag down and I'm going through, the fitters are fitting me through a set of Zircons or something. So I'm having a great time, right? Last day, last hour of the show, just having a great time. And I go to pick up my bag and it's gone. Like, what? What happened to my bag? All my contacts, this whole trip, everything what this
all
is
your
about,
stuff.
it's gone. And so I'm looking, I'm traveling I'm looking in trash cans. I'm asking people, I'm looking for it, right? And so I'm there for like an hour after the place is closing down. They're tearing the place down. It's over. And I'm just walking around in a daze looking for my bag, right? And so I'm just so bummed, so devastated. I get back to the hotel and this guy calls me on the phone and he says, hey, somehow I picked up your bag. I go, dude, thank you. That's so awesome. And he goes, I'll ship it to you. So I'm like, all right, this is perfect. So I get home, I'm waiting. It doesn't show up. And I call the guy back and I said, dude, did you send that to me? He goes, oh, dude, I'm sorry. I left it in the rental car. So all the contacts. So it was like the golf gods telling me, hey, dude, you're not ready. You're not
Slow
ready,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not ready. It's
divine intervention. Like literally, it's like,
right. Dude, you're not ready. So, anyways, that was all cool. It all worked out fine. But yeah, that was an interesting experience to go and do all that and get to meet some real. I mean, that's the great part.
I love it.
There's so many great people.
There's so many cool people, like nice people, like just normal, nice people. Like, I gotta remember, it's a game, right? So, and if you're not in, like, if that's not your profession, then it's fun because you're like, okay, I like playing this game. It's fun. I like doing my friends. Then you get to go and see all the cool brands. But if you're there to work, it'd probably blow. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I was golfing like crazy, and I golfed for probably 3 years, really hard, every day, as hard as I could to get as good as I could. And I broke 80 like twice, and
that's good.
But since this Divot Board took off, like probably
you're plus now again.
8 months ago, I haven't been able to go to the golf. I haven't been able to.
Dude, I played golf like a month and a half ago. It's because everyone's like, "Oh, you have a podcast and you have a blah blah blah," and I go play and they're like,
"You froze on me for a minute, Paul."
Yours in the So,
go ahead.
So then what happened then? So that was the show, and then what did you doing?
So after that show, then we just continued to develop, right? So then we went into a more. This is our. I went ahead and spent the money. I spent like $55,000 for a mold and started doing all the things that it took. But I had a patent then, right? My patent came through, so I knew I had a patent. So then we went ahead and made the mold. We made it what it should be. And this is our retail packaging that's going to be going into the PGA Superstores and different retail stores. So
when's that going to happen?
They're doing a test like next month. And so
you're gonna sell out, bro. Like,
well, but that was the problem. Like when we first started, we were at we had 1,200 orders in back order, and so that sucked. And that was for like a month and a half. And so we're trying to not have that happen, but we're working as hard as we can. We're making like 5,000 a month right now, going to 10,000 a month by November. And but yeah, we're probably gonna run out. And but it's just it's a good problem to have.
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because like you're selling out, but then it's like you're selling out for the right reasons, but it's hard to, especially when you're trying to launch, right? Like really launch and kill it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, sorry, we're on back order. It's like
right. Golfers are fanatics, right? I mean, we'll do anything to improve our game, right? So if there's something out there that'll help us play better, we want it, and we want it now. We don't want it like after the tournament next week. We want it today so we can practice for the tournament.
Yeah, I don't want it 2 months from now. I'll forget. Some other it's shiny object, right? For golfers. Shiny object syndrome. It's like, oh, that looks cool. So I guess
that goes back to what the Divot Board is. And the Divot Board isn't like a training tool. It's a feedback tool, right? So it's kind of like a launch monitor. It just shows you the result.
Freaking so cool.
It doesn't teach you.
I have mine right here. Look.
Awesome. I gotta send you a new one. See, we got logos. Oh, you got logos? Yeah, cool. Awesome. So
my dad tried to steal it. Like he was like, "Oh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life." And my dad has patents and on. He has training aids. Like I've had him on the show. Like my dad knows his stuff, and he's like, "Oh, that's the coolest thing ever. That's brilliant, brilliant." I was like, "Give it back to me." So that's mine.
Cool.
What's cool is like you have a clip too, so you can carry it with you to the course. Like I mean, I don't know. I think this thing is gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up even more than you. But that's the thing though, because you're telling me it's made in America, right? Like earlier, most of it's being made in America. Like 99% of it. So is that there's pros and cons to that, right? Like one is you have it here, so you don't have to wait forever to get it, and you don't have to worry about like shipping it in and all that other crap. But then is that gonna hurt you? You think because you're gonna have so many orders? You know what I mean? Or you're ramping up? It's called
we're ramping up. We're ramping up, and that's we're ramping up, and so. But you know, we're trying to get through Christmas. Like we had like 3,000 Divot boards in stock last week, and then one of our influencers did a push and sold like 1,200, and then we have a distributor that's buying 500, and so our stock's gone again. And so it's cool. It's awesome. It's a great
double-edged sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword. But I think the Divot Board is going to be a long-term thing. It's not something that you would use to learn, like, say, your wrist angle, right? Or you use to like stay on plane. It's not like that. It's something that you could use forever. It's always just giving you feedback. It's not so anything you do or anything you change. And the cool thing is it's instant feedback, right? So you're able to swing, and then with your eye, you're able to see instantly. You get the feels, right? So with a launch monitor, you got to wait 30 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever. And by the time your results come up and they tell you what they were, you've already forgotten whatever feels you had because that was 10 seconds ago or 15 seconds ago. And so that's what's cool about the Divot Board. It's instant feedback. And it's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
My dad and I were using it, and it was like, I was showing it to him when you first sent it to me a couple of months ago, and I was like, check this out. And he was like, this was awesome. Like he was literally sitting there for like probably 10 minutes just hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. He's like, this is so cool. This is so cool. I'm like,
well, it's funny. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
It's funny because some guys, like, their ego gets involved, right? And it's like they swing at it and they don't get the result they want, and they're like pissed off, right? So it's like, I don't want to swing it. I don't want to
direct feedback. It's direct feedback. Yeah,
exactly. And so
then it's like you just flip it all back over. It takes like 2 seconds. Like, it's all back the way it was.
Yeah, definitely.
So you go to the PGA show and you don't have the patent yet, and then what happens? Like you finally get the patent, right? And you're like, all right, now it's time to party. But then is that like when COVID started, like right around the same time?
Yeah, probably a little before. Probably like 6 months or so before COVID started. And so COVID. Like I had a factory. We couldn't get parts. It was just a mess all through COVID.
Well, yeah, because the supply chain's all jacked up.
Yeah, and even now the shipping is horrible. Stuff that should take, like if I'm shipping to like Massachusetts, that should be there in like 3 days, and it takes like 2 weeks. And so the guys calling me all the time, like, where's my Divot Board? Where's my Divot Board? It's like, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know.
That's the worst. And then they lose it. It's like, good job, USPS. And it's like, I got an email last week saying, oh, it's at a something center. And the lady's all like, where's my blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's just whatever this means. I don't know what this means. I've never seen this code before. And then she's like, well, I want it, or give me my money back. And I was like,
right. And we do that. I mean, no, I don't.
I'm like, all right, I'll send you a second one. So I sent her a second one. I was like, whatever.
But our customer service is really good. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you or fight with you. I shouldn't say this because people will argue with me if I don't get their money back. But no, I mean,
you're going to go all Bo Longo on them. You're going to be like, oh yeah, and then you go like this.
Yeah, no, not at all. We make sure our customers are happy.
That's what I do. If someone has a problem, I'll just send you another one. I don't even care. But that's the rough to hear right now. Like either I'll send you another one or I'll give you your money back. Like to me, it's like whatever. It's so much energy to waste on something that doesn't matter.
Right. I'm 60 years old. I want to enjoy the next 10 years, so I'm not going to worry about whether or not I give someone.
Dude, you look like freaking Superman. You're gonna enjoy the next 50 years. What are you talking about?
I was in the gym a couple days ago, and I was with a lady that was 50 who looked like she was 30, and a guy that was 70 who looked like he was 50, and I felt old. It was like, dude.
Try looking 44, and then looking like you're 107. That's how I feel.
No, you know.
Yes, I do, dude. Whatever. I started working, like I told you earlier. I started working like 2 weeks ago, and all I see is my weight go up, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the last thing I want. But I don't know. I want to look like you someday. I want to be Bo Longo in 15 years, 16 years. So, all right. So then you started getting them in, and then how did you start marketing them? I'll tell you how I found you. Somebody, one of my friends on Instagram was like, "Hey, check this thing out. This thing's cool. You should reach out to him." And I was like, and I don't reach out to anybody anymore. So I saw it, and then I reached out to you on like Facebook or Instagram. Or no, I don't know how I found you. I went to your website, and I went to your website, and I filled out your form or whatever it was, and I was like, "Hey, I like what you're doing. This is cool. Let's talk." And that's how we talked. Like, remember that?
And I do remember. I was in my truck sitting in a parking lot. But I remember
3 hours talking to you.
I'm just I don't know. I lost my thought.
So I mean, like,
takes me back up.
people. So how did you get your initial sales? Like, how did you get it out there?
That's it. So back when I very first started, back in the day, I was looking at all the different online instructors, trying to find somebody who could represent the Divot Board in a way that. And so Adam Young, I don't know if everybody knows.
Oh, I know Adam.
Is, but
yeah, he's cool.
So Adam is like really a contact guy, right? He's all about contact. I mean, that's where everything begins and ends with him is contact. So I called him up one day and I said, "Hey, Adam, I want to send you a Divot Board and have you look at it." And he says, "I'm in Europe and I'm moving around." And so we lost contact for like 6 months or 8 months, and finally reached back out to him again. I was able to send him a Divot Board and he loved it. And so that's kind of how it started with him. And then we've moved through a couple of different people, but who's really taken it on is Clay Ballard. Clay Ballard really loves it, and he's done just a wonderful job for us promoting the what it does and how it works. So
it's very word of mouth. I feel like because I saw it. After I talked to you, and then I saw an email from another website, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But it's like I didn't know who you were yet, right? And I think like it's spreading the right way. Like you're not running ads, are you, or anything like that?
Not
why
yet.
would you?
I mean,
you don't have any product in. Yeah, it'd be like.
Well, up to this point, we hadn't spent any money on advertising, but we're starting now. Just because as we build inventory, it's like it's always
it's like this,
right? It's like if I have too much inventory, then I'm unhappy, and if I have no inventory, I'm unhappy. And my customers are unhappy if I have no inventory, and then so it's always this battle of back and forth trying to make it all make sense.
Teeter-totter, right? I mean, that's really what it is. Like,
yeah.
I mean, now you're at a point where like you have it's being produced, you're getting your units in. I think this is what I think. I think they always say, "Oh, we're doing the test," right? They're gonna sell out that test. I'll tell you right now, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, we want 10,000 units." You're gonna be like, "Well, good thing I've been making them like crazy for the last 4 months."
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at, and I think it's a new idea. I mean, there was another product out there called AccuStrike that kind of was when I started the Divot Board, it wasn't there. It's kind of like I think about the time that when the airplane was out there, it was like 5 guys all over the world that were building airplanes, right? And they didn't know each other, they didn't talk to each other. Somehow the cosmos said, "Hey, we're going to put an airplane in the world," right? So somehow this idea came out. So when I was coming up with this idea, the AccuStrike guy was coming up with his idea all kind of at the same time, but he wasn't able to get a patent. So and his isn't nearly
this is carpet, right?
It's and it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't show the detail. It doesn't have the high contrast that the Divot Board does.
Dude, I bet you know what I think? This is what I think. I think if you go to PGA show this next year and you bring that, I bet you have a good chance of winning the whatever award, like the most innovative. I really do.
Yeah.
And that's a big freaking deal. Even though it sounds so hokey pokey, like that's a big deal, like in that world. But I think, like, I mean, I don't know. Are you going to go to the PGA show this year or no?
Yeah, but not. I haven't worked out. I'm not taking a space. I'm trying to have.
Don't you want to spend $1 million? Why not? Come on.
I want to have one of my distributors kind of like be the guy that puts it out there, and and we'll support them with that. So I'm talking to some distributors, but I'll be there. I'm sure we'll meet
You'll
up
walk around.
over
You
there.
just bring them
Yeah.
with you and walk around. That's the best thing. Like when I went, I got to meet a lot of people that I was already friends with. It just was really cool to see them in person, right? And like
Right,
we're like
right,
broing it up and hugging because I've been talking to you for a long time. It's like really cool to
right,
see them.
right.
Like you feel like you know these people, right? But then like you take them aside and they're like, I hate working in the booth, right? Like I
Mhm.
wish I could go rock around and like talk to people and like that's where the real deals happen, right? Is when
Right,
you're like hanging
right.
out, not when you come to a booth.
And it's not like I would do a booth. It's just I'm so busy just trying to stay up with production and everything else going on that's a whole nother deal. And I don't know, I might end up paying somebody to help make a booth
You
happen.
could
But
share a booth,
yeah. I mean,
you
that's
know.
kind of
I know a lot of
where
people
it's
do
at.
that.
Yeah.
My buddy did one like he did one at the PGA show, and like his booth sucked, right? And like it wasn't against him. It just like his booth was really crappy. They gave him,
Mhm.
and he paid like $9,000 for this like little crappy rectangle. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
he was pissed off at the end of it. He's like, I didn't sell one damn thing. I was like, duh. Like I feel like it's just. I mean, I can't
And
talk crap. It's not only a product, so.
but that's where I'm so lucky because the Divot Board isn't. It just sells itself, right? People, I don't. The
Oh
hard
yeah,
part,
dude. Oh, this is yeah. Wait till the
yeah.
Japanese see this shit. Like they buy
So it's
everything. That's like the hottest
yeah,
market right now.
yeah, and so it's and our return rate is like ridiculously low, and it's not. It's because in the ones I do get back, it's like I see where they're hitting, and they're just frustrated because the Divot Board doesn't fix your problem. It just shows you your problem, and they keep looking at their problem, and they're like, "This sucks," and so they send it back. But so we're trying to get better at showing them how to. Like I've got on my website, I'm adding some stuff from Clay Ballard and Adam Young
Videos explaining
well,
like
this
what's
shows
happening.
how to use the Divot Board to get better, right? And so it shows you like if you hit the Divot Board and you're fat, it's like, okay, how do I fix it? We don't tell you how to fix it because we're just a feedback tool. But we're trying to get because I don't want to be a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I don't have any. I shouldn't be
Oh.
teaching anybody. I'm not that good. So, but we're having teachers that are using the Divot Board to teach. And so eventually I think the Divot Board could become a staple in teaching, especially online, because if you're able to have a guy hit a Divot Board online and see his result, you can tell him how to make changes instead of being there in person. So it's just kind of that it takes time to teach people that it exists, and more people are starting to understand it, and so our sales are going up, and it's going to get better and better.
More to get teachers that have followings, but they also know what they're about. That actually try it, use it, explain it. Like, oh, okay, cool. It's a win for everybody. And they're like, somebody has Divot Board, some free instruction from your website. That was on YouTube. Divot Board with some dude, and then the guy could potentially teach that guy or train
Yeah,
him with
yeah.
5 videos or
Well,
whatever it might be.
well, the old way you had to do this, right, is you'd have to go out to a grass range and you're just watching ball flight, right? You just have to, and so
There's nothing
all the
like
old
this.
guys,
Nothing's ever been like
yeah,
made like this before.
yeah.
Never.
So the old guys have to, you go out and hit 10,000 balls, and in that process, you start to figure out, what your divot looks like, what your ball flight looks like. You still got to do that with the divot, but the Divot Board gives you a shortcut, right? It speeds up that whole process. So instead of going out to the grass driving range and watching ball flight on 10,000 balls, you might be able to do it in 2,000 balls because the Divot Board gives you that feedback that helps you get there.
Yeah, you're gonna see exactly where you're hitting the ball, especially
Right,
like any
right.
not. And what's really cool, and I think this is really cool, is that like okay, winter's coming, right? This is something you can use in your
Mhm.
house. It's like you don't have to go to the range.
Well,
Like
that's
you could just
yeah, right, and that's really the
you don't even need a ball, really. You
right,
can say,
but
okay,
that's
the ball is a
concept.
yellow circle.
Right. That's the concept is I wanted to be able to do it in my living room. Right. So that's how the whole concept of the Divot Board is in your carpet in your living room and just swinging, that's the concept. Guys have taken it out to the driving range and it'll work on the driving range and all that. But that wasn't the concept of what I
No,
was after.
yeah, it's a home
And
training aid.
and it basically, I mean, we're working on a more quality, not quality, but one that could take more abuse. So eventually, we'll be selling a commercial one to artificial turf driving ranges, so they can use that to give feedback to people. So, I mean, that's
So what is
all.
your
That's
pat?
all.
Your patent? What's your patent cover then? like how it works?
The sequence flipping over, the
utility.
Just the whole utility, the whole thing. So, if you've got anything that's flipping over, you're probably infringing on my patent. So, it's a pretty strong patent as far as my patent attorneys are concerned. But again, it's like I've been in lawsuits before, and if you're the person suing somebody, it's going to cost you, say, $200,000 to sue them. But because we just keep making claims, it's going to cost them $1 million to defend it. So it's, the law's on my side. And then one of the great things that is happening now is like Amazon and all your distribution channels, you register your brand and you register your patent. So if somebody copies me and they try to put it up on Amazon, I just tell Amazon, hey, these guys are copying my patent. Their attorneys look at it and they take them off.
That's the best part. Yeah, like
yeah.
Like if you start an Amazon store and like you have a trademark and a copyright and a patent and whatever it is, like they give you like precedence over everybody else essentially.
Right.
And so like if someone starts like doing a knockoff of your version, you just send like that's it. It's like how it is like the olden days. Like if someone does a knockoff and sells it at a store, it's different. Now it's like Amazon's the biggest store, so it's like, yep, we're not dealing with that. So
So
are you on right now or no?
No. One of my distributors is going on to Amazon here pretty soon. It's just I'm a single. I'm not single, but it's me and my 2 daughters, my wife, and my daughter-in-law, and that's the business, right? At this point, I'm buying an industrial building, and we're going to grow, and we'll have more employees and all that. But we're just a small.
It's hard. It's not easy because it's still like you're still the tip of the spear, right? So like everyone's helping you, but like you only can move. You would love to move faster, but you can't, right? And that's just like that's what I've learned.
Yeah. There's some things that kind of choke it off, but we're trying to move as fast as we can. Yeah. So definitely.
You've only been around for like 2 years, less than 2 years, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So the patent's only been around for about a year, year and a half, maybe. It's just time goes by so fast, and it's just we're having fun, just being. Me and my wife just got back from Greece. We were there for 10 days, and so that was it's my life was good before, but now it's great. So it's awesome.
So so what's in the future then? So it's going to be at the PGA Superstore, right? You said that's who's doing the test. We'll be getting into the PGA. Retail's the next part, right? So it's just, and even if I don't do retail, we can do great with online sales, but that's just kind of the next. You're gonna crush on Amazon, dude. Like seriously.
Yeah. And it's really exciting because it's not like I have guys call me up sometimes and say, okay, how do you do what you do? And I said, it's not me, it's the product. It's like, how do you do what you do? And it's not me, it's the product. And, that's really, I'm just fortunate that all those pieces came together so that I was able to be successful without being smart enough to do all the things that they think I know how to do.
Well, you were also super smart to do it the right way. Like you didn't just come to market with like an idea and then, I want to sell it. I need to make money. Here's my idea, because it would have been stolen in 2 seconds. And then
right.
Now you just wasted your time. Like you built the infrastructure around the brand so that now you can, now it'll grow. So somebody says that, someone asked a question. Brian asks a question. Brian asks lots of questions. He goes, are you going to, do any other kind of features with the Divot Board? Like, like that you're thinking about doing?
Don't understand.
So like, are you going to be like, you said you're making a bigger, like a larger version, right? For like
No, I don't know if that'll happen. It doesn't matter. Regardless, the ball is only that big, right?
I know, right?
If the Divot Board's bigger, it's not really going to help you. But we do have a product coming out that is going to show you, that's going to allow you to hit the Divot Board below your feet and above your feet. So, it.
No, that's cool.
When you first start golfing, and this is a misconception I think a lot of people have, is it's like they want to teach you on a level surface so you can get your swing plane down and you're all set up, but you never hit anything level on the golf course. There's nothing level. Even the tees are slanted, otherwise they would flood, right? So the ball's always above your feet or below your feet on the golf course, always. And so the concept that everything should be level is just a practice concept. It's not a real concept once you go out to the course, right? So I always struggle with if the ball is below my feet, 4 or 5 inches, or the ball's above my feet. What do I do? How do I do that?
Me too. It's on a hillside, and you're like, oh crap, what do I do?
Right. And so we've got a product coming out where you can set the divot board on one side and your feet on the other, and it's above your feet, or you can flip it the other way and it's below your feet. So that's a product that's coming out. And then we have another product that we're working on a patent for right now that shows low point on the driver. And so, we'll have some stuff coming out.
This is cool.
I don't know how successful those will be, but the divot board.
What I like about your website too, which I thought was like brilliant, was like you have that GIF or whatever of like just the divot board changing color, right? That. This without saying anything, that literally shows you how the whole product works. Like you know what I'm saying.
And that's because, like, I used to, when I first had the prototypes, I'd go out to driving ranges, right? I'd just go out to a driving range and just walk down the driving range. And if somebody wanted to talk to me, I'd show them the divot board and I just set it down and hit it. And that's all it took, right? I didn't have to say anything else.
You don't say anything. You don't have to explain it. It does itself.
Right.
It explains itself.
And that's the awesome part. Definitely awesome.
I love it. So, where can people find you right now if they want to buy a divot board?
It's just divotboard.com. DIVOTBOARD.com.
And then I love it. I think it's legit, dude. This thing's freaking so cool. Like I in 2 years you're gonna be like you're already gonna be crushing it. You're gonna be going to like Greece for 4 weeks instead of 10 days because you can afford it.
So our price right now is $119.99. We are raising the price on the 15th to $129.99. And that's just because we have a limited supply, and we're actually trying to slow sales down a little bit.
That's what you were telling me before. You're like, dude, I'm not really advertising this thing because I don't have it. Like, I only have so much product left.
Right.
It happens to a lot of people.
It pisses people off because it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but it's to the value, right? If it gives you that value, if you spend $129 on something, if it gives you that value of $129, it's worth it, right? And so anybody that wants to buy a divot board should buy a divot board before the 15th and save $10. And we don't do a lot of discounts, or we don't do any sales or anything because, again, we have limited.
It is what it is. Like that's why I love it. It's because it's like we only have so many to sell right now, and if you want it, buy it. And if you're gonna complain about getting $10 off, or whatever, it's like
it's the hard part, right? It's the marketing side, it's the business side, and then there's the customer side. And the customer competition is good for the customer because price comes down, but it's a balance of the whole thing, right? And we don't want to gouge anybody. We're not trying to steal money from anybody. We're just trying to put a product out that has value.
It's quality, you got. Like, it's seriously quality. It's not like crappy. Like, I mean, think about it. You're hitting the crap out of it with a wedge or a 7-iron or whatever it is, and it like doesn't like screw up it. Doesn't break it. It's like very durable.
It'll bend it, right? Like in the very beginning, I had a lot of people upset that that it would show the marks and everything. It didn't stay pristine and beautiful like when they bought it. But Clay Ballard's done some tests, and so has Adam Young, where they've shown you after they've hit it 1,000 times, and it's all beat up, but it still shows you the divot, and it still works perfectly. And so, that those questions have kind of settled down. I don't get those many questions as much as I used to. That hey, it's got marks on it. It doesn't look beautiful anymore. So the community.
Bro, have you looked at your golf clubs? Have you looked at your ball? Way.
Right.
So, how much are you gonna have like this summer, like winter and fall, like in stock? I think. No. In stock, but I guess in stock is a better way of saying it.
Yeah. It's like how many. I talk to other people, like how many golfers are there in the world? How many people can buy a divot board? And it seems to be like a million. I don't know. So we're just making them as fast as we can, and
but they're made in the United States essentially, all but one part, right? One piece is not.
Right.
So
that's because like the sewing machines that make the sequins, there's only like 4 companies in the world that can do it, and so it's not like something you can just run down to your local embroidery store and have somebody make it. So that's what makes it hard a little bit, because you're not just going to go find somebody to do that.
No, and it's durable. It's really durable. That's the key
Right.
too, because like you could make a thin version of this, and then it just rips and breaks, and people are pissed off. Like, oh yeah, well you can pay $50 for that. Somebody paid $40 for it, but like this thing's gonna last. Like they don't need to buy 20 of these, right? They only need to buy one, and then you can.
We'll do our best to try to maintain the quality, make sure that we're offering value to people. You can replace. I don't know if people know, but these pads right here, once it wears out, you can just pull this off and put a new one on.
I know.
So yeah, and then we have some custom ones coming out, like special training ones where when you flip it over, there's like color underneath it, which is specific to a person training, like Adam Young, and is talking about design. We have a design for him that would be specific to his training. So he would use it. He's got marks that show up when you hit, and then he has training that kind of ties into it. So you could take one, pull it off, and then put Adam Young's on it, right? And then put your other one back on it. So those are just some of the things that people don't know, that even though that you spend $120, it's $39 for a replacement pad on top. And a bucket of balls cost you what, 10, 20 bucks now, depending on what. And so for $39, you've got another 1,000 hits, 3,000 hits, depending on where you're at.
Depending on how good you are.
Well, that's another thing. People, so when they wear out fast, it's because a guy is hitting deep, right? He's digging into the divot.
He's beating it up, like he's
right. And so,
chopping the crap out of it.
Right. So I try to show him that we want to shallow out your swing, and when we shallow out your swing, you're not going to beat the divot board up as much. And I used to be that bad. I'd go out to a grass driving range, and I'd be the guy that when you look out, there's chunks of grass all out in front of you, and there's no grass left. It's all dirt. I was one of those guys in the beginning. So I've shallowed my swing, and I'm a lot better now. And then you got the guys that are the pickers, right? They don't even touch a piece of grass. It's like the ball's gone, and you never even knew they were there. But the divot board will help you learn how to shallow out your swing, and then the divot board lasts longer when you shallow out your swing. So the first one you buy, you might really tear up because you're a deep digger.
You're learning, you're practicing.
Yeah, and then as you get better at it, it's going to last longer because you've shallowed your swing out.
Well, I love it. I love what you're doing. I think this is a very cool invention. Like, this is a very cool training aid. I think you're doing all the right things. I think you're gonna blow up. Like, blow up. I think once you're on Amazon, not gonna be able to keep up. Like, I know people sell like 80,000 units a month on Amazon. Like, you've done the right things. You've gotten the patent. You're building the infrastructure around your distribution. And all you have to worry about then at that point is, like you said before, is the product sells itself, right? So are you gonna have to do marketing? Maybe a little bit. Maybe
we
not,
will. We will, because once there's still a point where they have to be educated, right? And we can wait around for like our influencers and different people to educate people, but we have to take a little more stronger position to show people what it is and teach people what it is. And so yeah, we'll spend money. We've committed more money to advertising next year. We're doing some things now that that we would have to do, but the great part is that's only going to help our success. It's not so many products you have to educate people and you have to spend money on advertising to help them understand what it can do for them, and the divot board just does it. They just see it and understand what it is, so it's great.
Oh, I love it, and I appreciate you being on the show today. You guys have to check out Divot Board. Like, seriously, this thing's legit. And the price point, I think, is very fair, extremely fair actually, for what you get. And like you said, you can swap out the middle section for $40 whenever you've destroyed it, right? Like, and that should be like 1,000 hits is a lot of hits too, by the way. So yeah. I mean,
Well, I have little kids. I mean, this is a cool story. So I have a local training facility that teaches kids, right? And they had like 100 kids in their program. And when they started with the divot board, so they would, a parent would come in, spend $120 on a set of lessons, 5 lessons, say, but every lesson was a first lesson, right? Because the kid never practiced. And so he would come back. So now they give them a divot board, and say, go take 100 swings before you come back again. And these kids are progressing. They got like 300 kids now. They sell a ton of divot boards to all the parents because it just switched that whole concept where.
Because it's fun. The kids are having fun too. They want to practice it.
And they're out in the backyard swinging, and they're getting results, and they're seeing what's happening. And so it makes the teacher look better. It makes, it just, the kid gets better. Everybody, it's a win-win for everybody.
100%. Like, this thing is cool. I don't know. I think, yeah, I love it. I really do. I don't really say about a lot of products. A lot of people bring me products. I'm like, nah, that's stupid. I'm not talking to you. But this thing is cool, and I think you've barely scratched the surface. No pun intended. Because there's, I don't know, it's exponential what can happen with this product, right? Like you just said, with kids learning how to play. Like, seriously, you get that for a kid in a set of like kids clubs, and then they can practice all they want, and it's like direct feedback, because you're not going to buy a $500 shot monitor for the, it's almost like the perfect. Right. I don't know. It's I
don't want to call it the poor man's launch monitor, but it's the inexpensive launch monitor for sure.
Well, launch monitor doesn't even show your divot. It just shows you how far you hit it and what your spin and blah, blah, blah.
Well, and the hard part about a launch monitor is somebody has to interpret it for you unless you're going to spend the time to read it all. I mean, I remember the first time I got on a launch monitor and there's all these numbers. And I'm like, what's all that mean? I mean, it didn't mean anything, right? Somebody had to tell me.
Yeah, there's like a million different parameters, and you're like, that's cool. You're giving me this information, but I don't know what any of that means. So what does that mean to me?
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, yeah, your launch angle's so blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. Does that mean they go up?
Right. And so, and just kind of like, just a quick story. I remember when I first came up with this idea, I'm like, this is so cool. I'm going to be able to play golf the rest of my life and just run around. And we're going to do that eventually. Me and my wife are going to get a motorhome and just travel all over the country, different golf courses. And there's guys that I found forums of guys that like do this. They get a motorhome and they travel all over the country. And they play with guys like once a year, right? The same guys,
cool.
Right? So they just travel all over the country playing golf at different places. And
I have a friend who like does that. He'll go to Europe. His wife lets him go to Europe for a month, and he'll just play like all of these cool ass courses. Like he went to Ireland and did all the courses in Ireland. Not all of them, but you know what I mean. Like the ones they wanted to play. And it was like total guy trip, but for a month. They're all rich,
right?
But that would be fun. I mean, I don't know. That's
it's one of the things that I'm trying to learn with golf is not chase score. And I don't mean to put down guys that chase scores, because obviously that's cool. But I remember the very first time I went out golfing, I was with a guy that was, he had a PGA card like 40 years ago, and he was really good. Right. And I remember going out with him, and I was playing with him, another guy, and me. So it was three of us. And I remember he was competing with the other guy, and the other guy wasn't really that good, but he wasn't playing that well. And remember, he hits the ball up into the off, out of bounds. Looks like it's out of bounds, right? So he's up there looking for it, right? And there's a house right there, and he goes, "I found it! I found my ball!" And it's like right here. And the homeowner walks out, and he goes, "Hey, what ball you play?" And he says, "Titleist." And he goes, "Here's your ball." And he throws it over the side. The guy dropped the ball.
Oh, that was cheating.
He was cheating. So we all laughed. It was all fun, right?
Forever. Now he's always going to be that guy, right? Like if that's your friend, you're going to be like, "Oh, we found your ball." Like,
yeah.
He lost all credibility.
Right. And then later in the round, somebody left a rake like right out.
Oh God, he flipped this shit.
He hits the rake, right? And so the ball hits the rake and stops. And he's so pissed, and he goes out there and he moves the rake and he goes to hit the ball and he mishits it and he breaks his wedge, right? I'm like, shit, that's crazy. So I never want to be that guy, right? I never want to be that guy. So I apologize to all the guys that are on that guy, but yeah. I want to have fun.
I just have fun. Just have fun with it. Who cares? No one, as guys, we think everyone's watching us, right? That we have to be like so good, and like nobody cares about your golf game. Like we only care about our own golf game. Like I don't care what you shot that day. I could care less. Now, don't be acting like this. Is something that pisses me off. Is when somebody acts like they're doing so good, but they don't keep track of their score that well. And I'm like, bro, you did not get a 7 on that hole. You got a 15. But if it's just like, I'm not that guy either. I mean, some people are. That's cool, but I'm not that good. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, like the first tournament I played in, so I didn't realize that based on your handicap,
Crappiness.
yeah, your crappiness, they put you together.
That's literally what
right?
it is.
So
Yeah.
so I went out with the last guys, right? So I'm with these horrible guys, and I'm playing well, but there's one guy that wanted to beat me. So I was like cheating. I was horrible. It was like he just kept attacking me, right? Because he wanted to beat me, right? And I'm like, dude, back off. And so it was like, it wasn't the greatest experience. And I remember at the end, he went and changed after I hadn't signed my card and I was leaving. He went and changed my score and added like five more to my
Dude,
card.
what's that dude's deal, man? I would have been pissed.
Right. So, but that was. I mean, I played a couple more tournaments now and had a lot of fun. But
that same guy, I'd be like, "What's up?"
No, not the same guy. Not the same guy.
I punch him
But he was the guy that just didn't want to be last, right? And so he would do anything not to be last.
Well, don't play.
Right. So, but it's just interesting. It's fun. Golf is fun, and if you just have fun, and one thing I love about it too is that I've met so many guys that are like in their 70s or 80s, and golf keeps them young, right? I mean, they
like walk. That's the key, man. You gotta
they're
walk.
Like dying.
Yeah.
They're like dying, but because they want to get that golf round in, they're alive. And and so golf is just awesome for that. And I hope I get to have that experience when I'm older, to just
That's only next.
play.
That's only next year.
That's next year, yeah.
You're like, well, I was like talking to you, Paul. Click. I think you could do all kinds of cool stuff with this. I think you could like do like customs, like easily do custom divot boards, right? Like, minimum order of whatever. But then like you could, it'll still say divot board, but like it'd be your colors of your school, right, or your college,
right.
or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
I think, dude.
Yep. All that stuff is coming. All that stuff's gonna be.
It all takes time. There's only so many hours in the day. Dude, trust me, I have so many good ideas. That's like I only have 2 hours to work on it.
Right.
So, well, thank you for being on. I appreciate you coming today too on the show, because I know you're busy, and you guys have the support. This is cool. This is really cool.
Awesome.
I don't say it to everybody, since I'm like people come to me and they're like, "Hey, check out my new invention," and I'm like, whatever, it's stupid. You just made that in China. Get over it. But this is I think you're doing all the right things. I really do.
Well, thank you.
I also think that even though it's taking a little bit of time, it's not really in the grand scheme of it, because you've overcome so much in like 3 years or 2 years, or however, like this thing is ready to, like, this thing's primed, so it's like, because once it goes crazy, you're going to be busy as hell, right? Like just making sure production.
I'm busy as hell already, but yes, it's going to be even crazier for sure. And I hope that people get better. I mean, that's really like what a brand or an image is, that we hope we help people play better golf, because that was the whole idea why I invented it, was to play better golf.
Yeah, you're not going to make money. You could care less. Like, it's part of it.
I've never been about money, just because that, like, chasing it's like chasing score, right? It's like chasing money is just so much stress. And so it just have a good time. Money shows up for me for whatever reason. It just always has.
Because you're Italian. Because you're Bolongo.
Yeah, Italian. There you go.
Such an Italian name. Look at my last name, dude.
That's right. You're Italian too, right?
I can talk like that too. That's why I can say these things.
Awesome.
There's a thing about Italians. We're like, oh, you're Italian? Oh, cool. And then we all just get each other. Like, oh yeah, we're pretty similar. Our families are pretty similar.
Right.
Yeah, you're Nana? Yeah, I had Nana too.
Yeah, I got Nana. Yeah, for sure.
My Nana's the best. She's the best cook in the whole wide world. She died when she was 99.
99?
That lady could cook.
It's interesting. My mom, she's like 78 or something, but she has dementia really bad.
I'm sorry.
No, it happens. It's genetic.
I know, but
whatever.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's all good. But one of the things I'm doing is I'm learning to play the drums. I'm getting pretty good at playing the drums. And it's weird that there's like these studies that if you already have a musical instrument in your brain, it doesn't help you. But if you're older and you start to learn a musical instrument when you're older, it's like makes connections in your brain and stuff. And so
that's cool.
It gives you a couple more years. You can, you hold your cognitive powers a little longer. So hopefully that keeps me going a little bit longer.
I never knew that. That's cool. So you're gonna be 100 years old when you die. I already know it.
No. No, and the other thing I do for fun is I ride electric skateboards. So I'm doing.
Oh,
20
that's right.
miles.
You're telling me that. That's cool.
Yeah, I was riding last night, and like I was doing like 25 miles an hour down the road. And
Are those big
like,
longboards? Those
yeah, they're long.
Like?
They're
Yeah,
long.
I've
Yeah,
seen those.
yeah, and then they go like mine goes like 25 miles an hour, and that's crazy.
That's
fast.
pretty damn fast for a skateboard, dude.
Yeah, I've gone down twice now. It's like funny. Like I was riding when I first started. I was riding with these younger guys, and all they had was a helmet, right? Just a helmet. Now I've got this like jumpsuit with shoulders, and I got the helmet, and I got all this.
You don't even care. You're like, I'm not getting hurt.
Right, I'm not getting hurt. But they won't ride with me anymore because it's like, we're not going to be seen with you.
You're some old dude with a bunch of hockey pads on.
I'm an old guy with like bubble wrap all around me. It's like, dude.
You're like, oh, here comes Gramps. Nope, Gramps can't come play with us.
Well, I got knocked out last year. I slipped in some water and just fell backwards and just hit my head, and I got knocked out and broke my helmet and all that. So it's
holy
like,
crap!
I'm glad I wear that stuff because
you have to, dude.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I remember I was playing ice hockey and I forgot I didn't have any shoulder pads on. Like we're just like playing around, and I hit somebody without shoulder pads. That freaking hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm shoulder pads on, and it like really hurt. One time I was on a date with this girl when I was in high school, and I thought it was all cool. And I was ice skating, and
you shouldered her? You gave her a shoulder?
No, it was worse. I forgot I had no pads on, right? So we're holding hands, ice skating together, and I hit a hole, and I freaking went bam, both my knees at the same time into the ice, which would have never hurt if I had pads on. Dude, I was like holding tears back. It was like there was tears. It hurt so bad. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. And I was like literally, I had tears coming out of my eye.
You froze for a minute.
It hurts. 1 second. All right. So
you're back. Yeah.
And we're back. Well, thank you for being on the show today. You guys need to check out divotboard.com. Correct. Yep. And well, you should buy Divot. You're gonna on this winter playing with Divot Board in your house, and you actually become better. And we all learned that Bo plays the drums today. He sucks at skateboarding. And
no, I'm good at it. I'm really good at it.
He probably really is good at it. And
when I was 12 years old, I won the South Bay skateboarding contest because I could do like 2360s. Now guys do 2360s in the air. It's just crazy how things have.
Yeah, but you just like took that off like a old box of milk, and you like probably broke the box and put some like roller skate wheels on it, and you're like,
no, not that old.
Like in Back to the Future. I'm like talk. That's I've never been good at skateboarding. So check out divotboard.com and anything else they can find you. Check out.
Well, you can find Bo Longo on Facebook is my personal stuff, and you can see my my Greece trip and all that other stuff if you want. So.
That's cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, and I love what you're doing.
Cool, Paul. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet. Bye-bye.